Faith under fire in China. Dozens of pastors detained, a newborn torn from a mother, and a church's founder jailed for simply preaching. Tens of thousands of worshippers watch powerless. Is this a crackdown or a warning? How far will the state go to control belief? Police in China have detained dozens of pastors from Zion Church, one of the country's largest underground Christian networks, in what observers describe as the most extensive crackdown on house churches since 2018. According to Zion Church spokesperson Sean Long, authorities detained around 30 pastors and church members nationwide over the weekend, with at least 20 still in custody.
What just happened is part of a new wave of religious persecution this year.
Witnesses said police had a wanted list and were violent during arrests. One female pastor was forcefully separated from her newborn baby, Long claimed. Pastor Jin Mingri, also known as Ezra Jin, the church's founder, was arrested at his home in Beihai, Guangxi province on October 10th. In a statement, Zion Church said it is not a political organization and has no connection to foreign entities.
We are not criminals, but Christians. We are not anti-CCP Chinese Communist Party. We are not anti-China. We love our people, love our society, love our culture. We are not a Western political force. That is 100% wrong. We are a Chinese house church adhering to historic Christian faith. We are believers of Jesus. We have nothing to do with the US-China tension or competition.
Such systematic persecution is not only an affront to the Church of God, but also a public challenge to the international community. An official notice seen by Reuters shows Jin is being held on suspicion of illegal use of information networks, a charge that carries up to 7 years in prison. Grace Jin, the pastor's daughter, said the family has not been allowed legal access to him and is concerned for his health, as he requires medication for diabetes.
He's been hospitalized in the past for diabetes. We're worried since he requires medication. I've also been notified that lawyers are not allowed to meet the pastors, so that is very concerning to us.
She further called on church society to hold the Chinese government accountable.
It's been extremely shocking and very scary for our family. But we also have faith in the Lord and we know that He is doing God's work. We strongly appeal to the global church society to hold the Chinese government accountable. They cannot do whatever they want without letting people know. Let our ministers and staff members be released as soon as possible. Stop arresting our members.
Mr. Jin's family relocated to the US for safety while he remained in China to pastor his flock. Authorities have barred him from leaving the country. Grace said her father knew imprisonment was possible but chose to return to China to support his suffering church.
He was very clear-eyed about what the government is and what he is doing. So I think he became a pastor knowing that one day it is possible that he will be imprisoned. Prior to the 2018 shutdown of the church, he was in the US, and he could have stayed in the US at that point and applied for asylum. But he felt that he had to go back with the church and be with the church while it was suffering.
Bob Fu, founder of the Christian rights group ChinaAid, said Jin's detention reflects growing anxiety within the Communist Party over the rapid growth of unregistered churches, which operate outside state control. Zion Church is estimated to have between 5,000 and 10,000 regular worshippers across nearly 50 cities. Pastor Jin established the independent church in Beijing in 2007, starting with just 20 members. The church grew rapidly, spreading across about 40 cities with thousands of followers. Pastor Jin holds degrees from Beijing University, Nanjing Union Theological Seminary, and Fuller Theological Seminary. In the US, Pastor Jin, a convert to Christianity after the 1989 Tiananmen Square protests, has been a symbol of faith resilience amid rising persecution of underground churches by the Chinese Communist Party. China has more than 44 million Christians registered with state-sanctioned churches, the majority Protestant official figures show. But tens of millions more are estimated to be part of illegal house churches that operate outside the control of the ruling Communist Party. The arrests come amid renewed US-China tensions, days after Beijing tightened controls on rare earth exports. US Secretary of State Marco Rubio has urged Chinese authorities to immediately release the detained pastors, calling the arrests part of a broader campaign against religious freedom. The United States condemns the Chinese Communist Party's recent detention of dozens of leaders of the unregistered Zion Church in China, including prominent pastor Mingri Ezra Jin. We call for their immediate release. The detentions have been described by watchdog groups as the most extensive and coordinated campaign against Christians in more than 4 decades. US Secretary of State Marco Rubio stated that these arrests reflected the Chinese Communist Party's hostility toward Christians who reject state interference in their faith.
This crackdown further demonstrates how the CCP exercises hostility towards Christians who reject party interference in their faith and choose to worship at unregistered house churches.
Asked about the arrests, Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Lin Jian said he was unaware of the case, but maintained that China governs religious affairs according to law and opposes US interference under the pretext of religious freedom. The latest detentions come as tensions between Washington and Beijing rise again over trade and export controls, casting doubt on a planned summit between Presidents Donald Trump and Xi Jinping later this month.